All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Friday edition of Comfort Time Live. I'm Tom, your host, and we have our awesome producer here helping us out push all the buttons. And it's kind of ironic that she's a woman pushing the buttons, but
are you saying there's some sort of correlation there?
Not at all, not at all. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I hope everybody's had a great week, and I hope you're getting ready to have an absolutely wonderful weekend. I know I am. You got any big plans for the weekend?
No, none at all. There may be some painting to do or something.
Well, that's exciting. You get
Because
to sit and watch it dry.
Are we having rain?
Well, it's supposed to be.
So,
last I heard, it's supposed to be like Sunday night or Monday that's supposed to head up this way.
So Saturday's looking good. Maybe we'll do something fun Saturday.
There you go. We'll see the storm will suck all the bad weather out on Saturday.
Well, maybe it'll suck moisture and I can get some painting done inside the house. Because when it's humid, it's hard to paint.
That is for sure. It takes a long time.
Well, you know all about humidity in the house, don't you?
Absolutely. A lot of things happen when you got low humidity in the house, and it should be able to keep your house below, when you're there, 50% is the perfect humidity level. But it all depends on what makes you comfortable. I know folks.
I don't think humidity makes anybody comfortable.
No, not at all. But it's the percentage. I know some folks. There's a couple of houses I've been in that they want to keep it at 40%, and I know some folks it doesn't bother them being at 55 and 60.
Mm-hmm.
But same thing with temperature. Some people are comfortable at 78, 79 degrees. Some people, like myself, if it's not 75, 74 degrees in the house, I'm not comfortable.
Right. That's about where I keep it, 75, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it comfortable for me. I don't like to, because then if you start doing any physical activity in the house, it's already warm to begin with, and now it just gets hotter and you start sweating.
Yeah.
It's just, get out of the shower, hot shower, and you're sweating for another half hour. All right, well, we got a great show for you today. We are going to be talking about the latest and greatest Contractors exam board by the city of Port St. Lucie. As you know, they were doing it every 2 months, and what the Contractors exam board is the inspectors, such as Kevin Pierce and Greg, excuse me here, let me scroll back up to my chart, Dennis Millward and Matthew Bocher. They were out there in the field, and what they do is they go out and they try to find folks doing things that they shouldn't be, either doing trades that they're not licensed for. Now, one big thing that I see a continual theme is somebody can be a general contractor. It means I have my general contractor's license, but I cannot legally go and do electrical work, plumbing work, air conditioning work unless I have a specific license for that trade.
But as the general contractor, aren't you supposed to be like the pivot guy?
Exactly.
And you get someone who is, therefore, subcontractor?
Exactly.
Okay.
So, but you have to be a general contractor in order to be able to subcontract a contractor. So it's a catch-22, but what's happening is some of these general contractors, which is a gentleman on that we're going to talk about today, he was found not guilty, and that's one of those things that you could have been right, you could have been wrong, but he's a general contractor, but he cannot go out and do plumbing work. He can hire a plumber, licensed plumber, and go that route, and it would all be done legally if they pulled permits and whatnot. Now, a plumber who is not a general contractor cannot turn around and hire another company that he is not licensed for to do work. Let's say, so if a plumber comes in and the homeowner says, well, I got some electrical work here too, can you do that? Well, that plumber goes and turns around and hires an electrician to do the work, and then that electrician, he pays that electrician through the money that the homeowner gave him. You can't do that.
Okay, well, you're supposed to go back to the general contractor.
You have to go back. He has to go back, or he cannot do it. He has to recommend the electrician, and the electrician has to do the work directly through the homeowner.
Okay.
As long as that electrician is licensed. So, and a lot of it's paper.
So that plumber should say, well, I know a guy here, you talk to him.
Exactly. So Benjamin Franklin will say, hey, I know Elite Electric. They're a great company. However, I'm going to turn them over to you, and then you can negotiate with them, and you can deal with them directly. And then as a licensed electrician, they can do the work. But Benjamin Franklin Plumbing cannot subcontract Elite Electric and pay them through their proceeds from the homeowner.
Well, that's like that contractor taking the money for the job that they're not supposed to do.
Exactly.
It seems pretty obvious, but you're going to tell me it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. Okay. I mean, one of the consistent things I see when we do the contractors exam board is I constantly see people who are general contractors getting accused of doing other trades that they are not part of, and even also.
Well, if they're getting the money in their hand, they're skimming a little something for themselves. They have to be. Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Exactly. If there's not something in it for them.
Sure.
So, and then also there's also issues where you see someone who is licensed to do screen enclosures and small masonry, which would have to do with the screen enclosure only. Mm-hmm. The guy's out there and says, "Well, could you throw this electrical outlet in there for me while you're doing this?"
Yeah, we sure would love a light over there.
Exactly.
Or,
Yeah. I'll do that. No problem. Mm-hmm. And then just so happens, that Kevin Pierce or one of those guys are driving by and they see this thing going up and just doing their job. They walk over and go, "Oh, okay, you got a permit for that, right?" Yeah. Actually, I got a permit.
Yeah. Who's doing the electrical?
Oh. Sorry. What is that over there? It looks like a electrical outlet that's being. They have an electrician for that. And then so forth. Then they get sent to the exam board here, unless they just immediately want to pay the fines and fees and go, "Yeah, I messed up here. I'll pay the fine and fee." So that's the purpose of the board. Now the whole purpose is really to protect the homeowner. Ignorance is not an excuse. However, there are different municipalities out there and organizations that are there to do their best because they know what the laws are to protect the homeowner from the less than honest contractors and also the unlicensed contractors for doing things. Even though you've been doing this for 26 years, doesn't mean that you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing when it comes to electrical or plumbing or things like that if you're not licensed. And that's what the whole licensing process is supposed to be about.
I like rules, and the rule is you're not supposed to. How about that ends it right there?
That's it.
That's all she wrote.
It really is cut and dry.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that one of the board members, says is, and it's funny, it's kind of an ongoing joke, is permit before work. And there was one. It was not this last one. It was the one before that. She must have said it 20 times. And every person that came up to the podium to speak in their defense, she would go, "Okay, this all could have been avoided if permit before work." But a lot of people, they go and they start the job and then they pull a permit. And St. Lucie can't. I could maybe understand Martin.
Do they start the job because they don't want the homeowner to change their mind or maybe find somebody else? Or
could be.
Okay.
Could be. Or they really didn't have an intention of pulling a permit to begin with, and then somebody just kind of, maybe the homeowner came back to him and said,
"Where's my permit?"
Exactly. "Where's my permit?"
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on that.
It's in the truck.
Exactly. Now, sometimes it happens in air conditioning because a service technician will go out to a house at 3:00 in the afternoon. The air conditioner's broke down. You got some kids. You got an elderly lady. Things of that nature. And it's hot.
Yeah.
Well, they'll start the job the next morning. Okay. However, most municipalities are very forgiving as long as the office has started the permitting process as quickly as possible. So if the guys are out there at 8:00 in the morning installing the equipment, and at 9:00 the paperwork is being processed or being dropped off, and it just so happens that Kevin Pierce showed up at 9:15 and there's no permit on the job, but he calls in and sees that there's a paperwork process going. Typically, if it's an emergency situation like that, they're very lenient because they say, "Okay, we're trying to protect the homeowner. It's a licensed contractor. Look, they're trying their best to do what they need to do." But St. Lucie County City of Port St. Lucie is very easy to get a permit, so there's never an excuse. And that was an issue yesterday that with one of the people there is, how difficult was it to pull a permit to begin with? It's not that expensive. It's unless you're going through all kinds of plan reviews and things like that, then it's a little bit more difficult. But if it's just going to get a plumbing permit for doing some work underneath the sink, typically, unless they're swamped, you're in and out in less than 10-15 minutes, as long as all your paperwork's in order.
Yeah, you're not changing the structure or anything. You're fixing what's already there.
Exactly. So now if you need plan reviews and things like that, yes, it gets a little bit
like
more
you're building an
complicated.
addition.
Exactly. But there was also one that we're going to talk about where a car ran into the house and they had to do repairs on it. We're going to talk about that, where I tell you, they actually gave out, there wasn't a lot of people on the agenda, but they gave out some really, really big fines. And the nice thing is that the city of Port St. Lucie, they have the power to revoke permitting privileges for up to 365 days or indefinitely, which there actually was a couple people on there we're going to talk about today that lost their permitting privileges. And one of them was a huge company that we're going to talk about. I mean, a big name company. So you're going to want to pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, because I guarantee you somebody within our listening audience is using this company. And if you're in the sound of my voice, most likely they are going to they already have their permitting privileges revoked. And if they try to install a heating and air conditioning system for you, that means that they're going to do it illegally and without a permit in the city of Port St. Lucie. So keep your ears out, and if you're watching us on Comfort Time Live, well, keep your eyes out too. You'll see us in the studio, and you'll be able to chat with us if you'd like. We have a chat room going. Now, we're going to give away 3 trivia questions today, and we're going to give away 3 prizes. And the first prize we're going to give away, you're going to call in. The first caller to get it correct at 340-1590. First caller to get it correct is going to win a one-time free whole house plumbing inspection from Ben Franklin Plumbing here, right off Macedo in Port St. Lucie. So our first trivia question of the day for our free one-time whole house plumbing inspection is on September 9th of 1983. Which region with more than 500,000 population unsuccessfully petitioned the U.S. government to become the 51st state of the United States? 340-1590. On September 9th, 1983, which region with more than 500,000 population unsuccessfully petitioned the U.S. government, U.S. Congress, to become the 51st state of the United States? If you get that answer correct, first caller, 340-1590, you'll win a whole house plumbing inspection from Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, one of our great sponsors here on Comfort Time Live. And let's go ahead and take our first break, and we'll come back. We'll finish up. Hopefully we'll have a caller answer that question. It's a pretty easy question. We'll have a caller online, and we're also going to start with the people who were found innocent and also those who were found guilty. You're listening to Comfort Time Live. We'll be right back.
Elite Electric.
We can do it.
Elite Electric.
There's nothing to it.
Elite Electric.
Ooh, amazing.
Elite Electric.
Woogie, 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 woogie.
Elite Electric specializes in all of your electrical needs, from security lighting to surge protection and everything in between. How do you think they got their name? Elite Electric. Elite Electric has been family-owned and operated on the Treasure Coast since 1988, and they're recommended by Comfort Time Live. Visit online at EliteElectricAndAir.com and learn more about their services. Elite Electric. Service today. Proud sponsor of Comfort Time Live Friday mornings at 11 on WPSL 1590.
No matter what you want, just pick up your phone, say, come on, Elite.
And we'll get the job done.
We can do it.
Elite Electric.
There's nothing to it.
Elite Electric.
Benjamin Franklin Plumbing can help you schedule the on-time help you need. Busted water heater? ScheduleSomeHelp.com. Leaky faucet? ScheduleSomeHelp.com. Help with your honey-do list? Perhaps. Get help for $25 at ScheduleSomeHelp.com.
Limitations and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Elite Electric, with security lighting to surge protection and everything in between. How do you think they got their name? Elite Electric. Visit online at EliteElectricAndAir.com and learn more about their services. Elite Electric. Service today. Proud sponsor of Comfort Time Live Friday mornings at 11 on WPSL. Known for helping you keep that spark, now they'll help you keep cool. Elite Electric and Air, the official air conditioning sponsor of Comfort Time Live, has provided the best in heating and cooling customer service since 1988. If your electric bill is costing you more than 12 cents per square foot under air, you may be overpaying the utility company. Elite Electric and Air can help put that cash back in your pocket. Call Elite Electric and Air with 24-hour service. Dial 340-3797. That's 340-3797.
All right, we're back and listening to Comfort Time Live, and We may have a caller on the line that perhaps has the correct answer. But let's go ahead and repeat the question one more time. We'll give Robert a second chance just to kind of make sure he's got it right. So on September 9th, 1983, which region with more than 500,000 population unsuccessfully petitioned the U.S. Congress to become the 51st state of the United States? How you doing this morning, Robert?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks. Appreciate it. Enjoy your program.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Sure.
Who's going to pay you to say that? Or is that just like really coming from the heart?
Cities.
Really? Oh, there you go. Well, what's your? You have the answer, Robert?
I don't know. I think so. Maybe Washington D.C.
You are right on the money, my man.
All right.
Congratulations. Now, did you know that? Did you Google it or?
No, I'm in my car. I knew that. It was in the back of my mind somewhere. I had to think about it, but I knew it. So.
Well, now you're not driving. You're pulled off on the side of the road talking.
I pulled over to the side. Yes,
that's
sir.
what I thought.
Still have my seatbelt on.
Well, awesome, Robert. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and put this down and have Benjamin Franklin Plumbing give you a call and go ahead and take care of your whole house plumbing inspection at no charge for you.
Awesome. Great deal.
Awesome, Robert. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. I appreciate the compliment.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
sir. Bye-bye. Okay, we have Art on line 2. Art. Nope. Art. Okay, Art.
You know what? The guess is Art had a guess for your question.
Yeah, he
realized it was answered and dropped off.
Well, you're going to have another opportunity, Art, to because we're going to have 2 more questions coming up here. So let's go to the Contractors Exam Board that was held on August 9th, Thursday at 10 o'clock at City Hall right here on the corner of Roseau and Port St. Lucie Boulevard. Now, remember, anyone can attend these meetings. It's open forum. Now, some days, depending on the camaraderie going on, I may be out front selling tickets and popcorn and
kind of like a dog and pony show.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now I don't know if legally they'll let me sell tickets to it, but it's not this past one because unfortunately I wasn't able to make it. But I did watch it online, and the video will be on Comfort Time Live under Contractors. But you also go to the city of Port St. Lucie. But this one was okay. It wasn't, didn't have a lot of eventful things happening. Now the one before that was one that you just needed the Orville Redenbacher. You needed somebody running around peanuts, popcorn, Cracker Jacks. So it was good. So our first candidate here on Are You Licensed or Not? We had gentleman Robert McKenzie. Now Robert McKenzie was originally cited for potentially engaging in the business of a contractor without being duly registered or certified. And then the second one was for the same location, willfully and deliberately disregarding any municipal ordinances relating to uncertified or unregistered contractors. Now, the issue is that Mr. McKenzie was working for a company, an air conditioning company, called Temtech Services. And and this is what didn't get very detailed discussed, but Mr. McKenzie went out to a home, and the proposal that was left to the homeowner was not a proposal from the company. It had Mr. McKenzie's name on it. It had Mr. McKenzie's home address on it. It had Mr. McKenzie. So
I'd say a side job?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the whole premise was, and that's why he was brought forward. Now, the address...
The big mistake was the paperwork.
Now, here's where the misinterpretation... Another contractor actually turned this gentleman in. And that happens a lot. Because what happens is, I'm a licensed contractor. I go out to a home, and an unlicensed contractor has already been to the house. I know that he has a proposal because the homeowner shows me and says, hey, Joe Schmo over here, he can do it for...
Yeah, why is it costing me that from you?
Right.
Yeah.
Why are you so much higher? So I find out that Joe gets the job, so I go by, I see that he's doing the work, and I turn him in. And, well, what happened here, misinterpretation of... There's a place called Panther Trace. There's a Panther Trace in Martin County. There's a Panther Trace in Port St. Lucie.
You know why they call it Panther Trace?
Why?
Because there's no trace of a panther anymore.
Are you serious? Are you just
I'm being facetious.
You never know, though. There are Florida Panthers around, right?
Yeah, well, when you knock down all the woods and build houses, that's it.
What do
They're
you
not going to
expect?
hang around.
So, but there's two. Well, unfortunately, what had happened is, I guess the proper research wasn't done to determine that the address in question is actually the Panther Trace in Martin County. So the charges had to be dismissed in the city of Port St. Lucie. However, it's going to be turned over to Martin County. Now, his excuse was that he ran out of proposals from the Temtech services. Okay. Well, before they realized that it was Martin County address, the question that was coming about is, okay, that's a legitimate concern. However, why doesn't it have the name of the company's address, you as the consultant or service technician? Why does everything on this proposal directly point to you and say nothing about Temtech services? So, but the guy from Temtech Services, his name's Scott Browski, he was actually sticking up for the guy, and he's the certified contractor. So I would be curious to find out what the results are in Martin County, so I'm going to try and follow up with that one. But even though somebody works for a licensed contractor, okay, I'm a service technician. I work for Elite Electric and Air. So I go out, but I go out after hours.
Or with your own paperwork.
Or with my paperwork. And I am not going to that house as a representative of Elite Electric. Now, I might be driving in their truck, but if I am soliciting myself as an individual, then I am soliciting as an unlicensed contractor. However, the problem is that somebody could go after such Elite Electric and Air, who they are very picky about the people that they hire. So this would never happen between them. But the folks that could care less, as long as you have a pulse and you have a driver's license that's somewhat valid.
Well, that licensed company may not even know that their employees are doing this.
No clue. No clue at all. You don't. I mean, the only way to track it is if you had GPS on the trucks.
Well, you could, as a homeowner, you could go, "Hey, Mr. Company Owner, can you send somebody out?" And they send somebody out, but that somebody has their own contract in their pocket, and they go back to work and go, "Well, we didn't get the job. I got the job, but I'm not saying anything."
I had that happen in my company, and I had to fight. There was a guy who was with the company for 13 years before I bought it, and I always wondered why I could never get in touch with him. I always wondered why certain jobs he never got, and come to find out,
he did get them.
I found
he
business
just didn't
cards.
tell you.
Yeah, I found business cards. And, even though he had been with the company for 13 years, I'm sorry, you're stealing from me.
Sure.
So but there's ways that the right business owners.
Sure, and the homeowner believes they're hiring the company that they called.
And sometimes they know they're not too, and that's the other issue is they know they're not hiring it. But yeah, you're right. It's a catch. But GPS is a great thing on the trucks now because this way the business owners can track where the guys are at all times. They can track when the cars are shut off at night, so they know if they left the vehicle and went someplace else. But then the other issue is I can go buy my own personal van, and I can take all the equipment and materials out of your truck and still go do the side job.
Right.
So, but just the right companies have to. So that anyway, that was citation was dismissed and sent over to Martin County, and hopefully they will be able to get to the bottom of it. But I'm going to follow up on it and make sure that that the issue is being resolved. So let's go ahead and let's do our other trivia question now, and I got another one here. A couple easy ones. This one, I think we have a lot of listeners that are going to get this one. So 340-1590, and now if you answer this trivia question, you're going to get a free service partner agreement for your electrical in your house from Elite Electric. A free service partner, which includes them coming out and doing inspections of your breakers and your smoke detectors and whatnot. Now remember, if your home is a little older, what happens is those electrical wires expand and contract with heat. And as they can expand and contract, what happens is they can become loose in your breaker panel and can actually cause spark and fires, or also cause excessive electricity to be used to be pulled through that wire. So it's always great to have someone who's knowledgeable about coming out there, making sure that they're all tightened, that there's no issues, checking your smoke detectors, your ground fault receptacles, because gosh forbid, we wouldn't want a husband to throw a hairdryer into the tub with his wife without having that ground fault receptacle to shut it off. So, ladies, make sure that if your marriage is on the rocks a little bit, make sure you have those GFIs checked. All right, so here's our question. So 340-1590. In America, it's called the radio antenna. In Britain, it's called what? In America, it's called the radio antenna. In Britain, it's called what? 340-1590 for your free service partner agreement for the electrical side from Elite Electric. Give us a call. So let's move on to the next one. We had Edward Louderbeck, who actually on the previous Contractors Exam Board had a condition with some permits, but however, it was all put in compliance, and he was found not guilty, and it was tabled to this hearing, so we're in good shape. Now, here's a good one. This is one that we talked about last month with Steve Singer. And Steve Singer was the definitely different home repair. And what had happened is he was being accused of soldering plumbing pipes underneath the sink of a residence that had asked him to switch out a mop sink and also a garbage disposal to the opposite side. And the whole issue of the reason is that the homeowner had turned him in because I guess there was issues with what he had done. The homeowner was accusing him of soldering pipes in without pulling a permit, because if you solder pipes or put any valves or anything in, it requires a permit, because you're actually tapping into the water system that could, if it's not done properly, could cause, hazards. Well, the whole issue was, it just boiled down to, did he solder the pipes or not? So, Mr. Singer had an attorney from Rooney and Rooney who was with him during the first one, during the second one, and there was so much back and forth. He said, she said. That this time they had sworn statements from the homeowner, and the sworn statements said that the homeowner actually saw Mr. Singer with the torches in his hand, and they smelt this funny smell, and Mr. Singer swears up and down. Also, Mr. Singer had one of his employees, Frankie, with him that also denies that they did any copper pipes whatsoever, and it was just a back and forth. Well, one thing that was brought up by one of the board members, that up until this one point was made, I was really thinking that Mr. Singer was just guilty as could be. However, one point was brought up by one of the board members who is a licensed plumber that sits on the board, and the point is when the sink was originally built, the house was originally built, let's say the valve to turn the sink on and off was on the left-hand side on the bottom. The garbage disposal was on the right. Now, what Mr. Singer did was switch the garbage disposal from the right to the left. Well, if the valve is there and you switch the garbage disposal over to the left, it would have put the garbage disposal in the way of the valve, unless somebody were to resolder the lines and move it. Well, when the pictures were taken, the valve was, the garbage disposal was still blocking the valve. So the point that was made by the board member was, any competent contractor, if they were to put the garbage disposal in, they would have moved the valve to the other side if they were going to be soldering. So what they were saying is if Mr. Singer had soldered some joints in, which would have required a permit, why would he have soldered the valve right behind the garbage disposal that he put in? And it just got me thinking to say, okay, well, Mr. Singer's been in business for quite a while. This is probably one of those things that would be too simplistic for him to make that big of a mistake. So all the charges were dropped. But I tell you, that's one of the tough situations where it's a back and forth. And the homeowner had the sworn statement, but according to Mr. Orr, who's the attorney for the city, no. The point being is that because the homeowner was not there, the sworn statement is hearsay. So they cannot form their opinions solely on the written sworn statement. Okay? And let's go to line 1. We have Gary has a question. Gary, good morning.
Can I ask an air conditioning question?
You can, sir, and I'm going to do the absolute best I can to answer it.
Well, I know you always do. I have an old house. It was built back in the 60s.
Okay.
It has central heat and air.
All right.
And about, 2 months ago, it probably got something to do with the humidity. One of the AC vent in the bathroom started dripping water,
Okay.
And it was rusty water, and so I replaced the vent just to see what would happen, And anyhow, it still drips, but it's not rusty water, but it's still dripping. How can we fix that?
Well, first we got to figure out if it's a leak or if it's just condensation. So the first thing I would
figure out if it was what?
If it's a leak. So where's your air handler located?
On the other end of the house.
Oh, okay. So it's not that. Because I was going to say if the air handler was, because you said rusty water at first, and I was thinking, okay, well maybe if the air handler was located in the attic close to that drop, maybe there was a condensation leak. Now the next thing I say is that it could be that the duct in the attic is not sealed properly. So what's happening is you're having the cold air mixing with the hot attic air blowing against that vent and causing the condensation.
Makes sense.
So a couple things to do. If you can get into the attic at that point where that is I would, you could do this yourself. It's fairly simple, or have, Elite Electric and Air can stop out and do this for you. They sell mastic, which looks like a drywall mud at your Home Depot or your big box stores, any one of them, and metal tape. And it's like a foil tape that has a real good sticky side on it. And what you would do is go up in the attic and you would seal around the duct that attaches to that grill. Also seal with caulk, where it's called a can, and a can is just a device that sits into the drywall that the grill actually screws to. So from the top you can seal around that, but then also what I would do is from underneath I would take the grill off and I would run a nice thick bead of caulk between the drywall and the can in the hole. Yeah. So basically what we're trying to do is just seal everything up so that the hot attic air is not mixing with that, creating the dew point and causing that grill to leak.
Yeah, I've been in the house for a while, but this is the first year it's done it. I know that our humidity has been pretty high.
But it could be maybe the insulation is kind of, squished down a little bit. It could be that maybe something tore up there. It could be that because the air conditioner's getting old, maybe the temperature difference is a little bit, so it's gotten it that much closer to the dew point. There could be a couple different issues, but that would probably be the primary thing that I would think of when a grill leaks like that, is we got attic air mixing with the conditioned air causing the condensation.
And I would bet money you're exactly right on that.
Well, hey, and if it works, Gary, please don't hesitate to give us a call back here so everybody else knows that sometimes I get it right.
Yeah, all right. I will. I'll check that out this weekend or next and awesome. See, and I will let you know.
Awesome, Gary. Thanks a lot for listening to the show. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye-bye. Wonderful. Okay, so real quick, we'll back to our trivia question before we go to our break. But excellent question from Gary, and you'll notice that a lot of the folks have that in your home. I come across that quite frequently, where your grills are dripping, they got condensation on them, and typically that's from it not being sealed properly and causing the cold 55-degree air that's coming out of there to mix with 130, 140-degree attic air with high humidity, and causes that condensation. It's like moisture on your windows.
What if it's a grill that's really, really, really high? If you have high ceilings because the heat rises,
Right.
and you've got just that one that does that. Is it because
It wouldn't be
all that
because of
heat-
the air inside the
No,
house.
okay,
No,
so
'cause
something's got to be leaking.
Yeah,
through.
because typically the temperature in the house and the humidity level in the house typically would not be high enough to create that dew point. It would have to be the attic air seeping in, where maybe the screws from the grill have slowly over the years kind of fed back. Maybe the can that's in the ceiling in the attic, maybe it's kind of loosened up a little bit so it pulls away from the ceiling. And what happens is you get that seepage
Little
of 100 plus degree attic air, which is 75, 80, 90% humidity, mixing with the 55, 60 degree air coming out. And when the two of those hit, I mean, it's just like dew on a morning day. Same thing. But yeah, typically, if you keep your house at a reasonable temperature, 78, 77, 76, your humidity is definitely going to be below 60%. And the chances of that happen are pretty slim. Even if it's way up high.
Okay.
Even if it's way up high. So back to our trivia question before we go on our break. In America, it's called the radio antenna. I know we have people from Britain or English people or whatnot listening, so you should be able to get this one easily. So in America, it's called the radio antenna. In Britain, it's called what? Do you know the answer to this?
I don't.
You
No.
don't? God, a radio person like you and...
It's Britain.
340-1590. We're going to go ahead and take our next quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about, we got a couple, I'm going to have to probably skip one or two because there's a good one I want to get to that I think is really, really going to pique your interest. So you need to listen up. You're listening to Cover Time Live, 340-1590. We'll be right back.
Elite Electric.
We can do it.
Elite Electric.
There's nothing to it.
Elite Electric.
Ooh, amazing.
Elite Electric.
Woogie, 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 woogie.
Elite Electric specializes in all of your electrical needs, from security lighting to surge protection and everything in between. How do you think they got their name? Elite Electric. Elite Electric has been family owned and operated on the Treasure Coast since 1988, and they're recommended by Comfort Time Live. Visit online at eliteelectricandair.com and learn more about their services. Elite Electric. Service today. Proud sponsor of Comfort Time Live Friday mornings at 11 on WPSL 1590.
No matter what you want, just pick up your phone, say, come on, Elite.
And we'll get the job done.
We can do it.
Elite Electric.
There's nothing to it.
Elite Electric.
Benjamin Franklin Plumbing would like to help you schedule some help, whatever on-time help you need. For plumbing emergencies like a busted water heater, go to schedulesomehelp.com. Sewage problems? Schedulesomehelp.com. If water is dripping from your ceiling, schedulesomehelp.com. If you need help repairing that leaky faucet or upgrading your shower head, schedulesomehelp.com. Want help with your golf game? Yep. Schedulesomehelp.com. Right now, get help for $25 at schedulesomehelp.com. Limitations and exclusions apply. See schedulesomehelp.com for full details.
Known for helping you keep that spark, now they'll help you keep cool. Elite Electric and Air, the official air conditioning sponsor of Comfort Time Live, has provided the best in heating and cooling customer service since 1988. If your electric bill is costing you more than 12 cents per square foot under air, you may be overpaying the utility company. Elite Electric and Air can help put that cash back in your pocket. Call Elite Electric and Air with 24-hour service. Dial 340-3797. That's 340-3797.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Comfort Time Live, and we are talking about the Contractors Exam Board that was just held here August 9th in the city of Port St. Lucie. I want to give my hats off to all the folks that are on the board and all the inspectors, but of course a special thank you to Ms. Donna Noto, who actually kind of puts she's the backbone of all of this. And when you watch the videos and you're at the city hall, everybody refers to her for everything. So I couldn't imagine what they would do without her. So my hat's off to her. She's the one who actually sends me all the agendas and then and just really helps me out. So I want to say thank you very much, Donna, for being a great person that you are. So now the next one I want to touch base on is, and we got another one I want to do, but this one was from Clifford Russ from Sky High Siding and Roofing. Now the problem here, the issue was, is that a vehicle had run into a home, created a lot of structural issues. Well, there was electrical issues, structural issues, and things of that nature. Well, in that circumstance, plans and prints and stuff must be presented to the building department before a permit can be pulled. They need to be approved. When the organization brought everything to the city, they did not approve the plans as were. They needed to be corrected. They never heard from the company again. Now, they had submitted for a permit along with the plans, but the plans weren't approved, which means the permit was never legitimately pulled. They never heard from the company again. This was back to December 10th of, I think, like a year or so ago. Never heard from them. Come to find out, the job was completed without permits, without any inspections, so we have no clue whether any of the work was done according to code. So because of that, they were given a level 3 suspension, and permitting privileges were revoked for 365 days, and they recommended a letter of reprimand be put in the CLIB, which is the contractors. Those are the big wigs that do all that stuff. But it just, why? You know, it's the frustration of, why couldn't you have submitted it, found out what you needed to do to correct it, and then move on? Well, somebody was saying that the guys decided not to do work in our town anymore because they make it too difficult for them to do work. Okay. Why? Because they just want you to do it right? That's difficult?
Well, some people it could be, I guess.
It is, because they want to do it their way. And I see this when I go in and do consulting for folks. Is you'll put something that is just jump right out at you. Here's what's wrong. Okay? And here's what you got to do to fix it. Well, I don't want to do that. Okay. I went to a company, I found two.
Well, I think if you asked the homeowner if they wanted it done right, they'd go, yeah. I'd like it done. I'd like it done right.
Absolutely. I was doing a consulting contract for a company. I found $200,000 in lost revenue for them. $200,000. And there was only one or two things that they needed to change to correct it, to get that money back. And they weren't very difficult things. But because they've been doing this process that way for so long, I don't want to change. Okay. So you rather continue to lose $200,000 or do that? Yeah. Okay. Same thing here. We don't want to make the change. We've been doing it this way. If you're going to force us to make a change just so we can get a permit.
But if the city didn't approve the plan, there had to be something wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm sure that homeowner would have been like, now, wait a minute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm curious to find out, and I'm going to keep following up on this one as well. I'm curious to find out. So we got one last trivia question, since nobody got that one. The answer to that was aerial. In Britain, they call a radio antenna an aerial, since nobody got that. One last trivia question, and if you don't get this, come on, folks. I may have to like start looking at, what's the, people here on AM listening, how smart you guys are. Now you'll get this one. All right, 340-1590. This one is for the one-time air conditioning and heating tune-up by Elite Electric and Air. They are our air conditioning sponsor now, and they will come out and do a one-time tune-up on one of your air conditioning systems and make sure that it's a world-class tune-up. 340-1590. Which cartoonist in 1950 created a comic strip that he named Peanuts? Which cartoonist in 1950 created a comic strip that he named Peanuts? That should be an easy one for you. All right, so now I want to go to a big one. This guy had multiple fines against him. It was Frederick B. Ellis III from Alias Signs. Now, this is weird. He manufactures, now the signs that we're talking about, okay, are signs that you would see in Tutti Frutti. You know Tutti Frutti, right?
Mm-mm.
You don't know Tutti Frutti?
No.
How could you not know Tutti Frutti? Oh my God, Tutti Frutti is a frozen non-fat yogurt, and you like pour it in a cup, and then you go to like this little buffet bar that's got all kinds of fresh fruits and then of course fattening stuff like, chocolate chips and
Okay.
and you just put stuff.
And you wreck that yogurt.
Yeah,
Right?
but you got some fresh stuff. They got like
Okay.
kiwi and strawberries and blueberries, so you can take the non-fat yogurt.
And you make your own?
You make your own, and then they put it on this little
We'll
scale.
have to talk about where this place is after the show.
There's two of them. Oh, it's awesome. One of my friends is actually the owner of the one over in Peacock and St. Lucie West Boulevard. Van and Candace and them and they're great people. They own that one. But this one was for the one in Traditions. So big gigantic signs, commercial signs, Tutti Frutti, Socian Martial Arts, Kids Space, and Town Jewelers right here locally. All these big signs were made. Well, they were made in the warehouse of this organization, Alias Signs. The problem is anything electrical has to have what's called a UL rating. Has to have a UL rating, okay? And the UL rating is basically a third-party organization that's verifying that everything is up to
Yeah, it's not going to burn the building down.
Exactly. Well, and I have no clue how they caught this, but the guy who was the inspector on this found that when these products are made at the factories, okay, or if they were made at this Alias Signs manufacturing warehouse, the stickers are put on during the manufacturing process. He saw where it looked like they had been done after the fact, and I have no idea how that caught his eye. But we're going to go to lines. We have Dennis on line 1. Good morning, Dennis.
Sir. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Not bad. I just had one name that popped in my head. I don't know if I'm right or not, but it was Charles Schultz.
That's it. That's it, Dennis.
Wow.
And poor Art. Art's on line 2. We're gonna have to keep Art tried to get the first question and he missed the call line. Art tried to get the second one and he missed it. But Dennis, congratulations. That's exactly it. So I'm going to write you down here for the free one-time heating and air conditioning tune-up by Elite Electric and Air, and we'll go ahead and get you take care of. So it just popped in your head. Did you Google it or?
No, I don't have internet. I just remember from long ago. I'm 57, so I just remember that comic strip. I used to read it when I was a kid. I remember Charles.
Well, 57. You're not that old, Dennis. Come on now.
Well, you know.
I mean, you're older than me, but you're not that old. Well, congratulations, Dennis. I appreciate you listening. And I'm going to pass this information over to the organizations today, and hopefully they'll give you a call right away.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. All right. Art still in line?
No.
No? Okay. We're going to have to figure out how we can take care of Art. Poor Art. All right. So the UL rating. So somehow they figured out that the UL rating looked like it had been put in afterwards. Okay, well, that being said, so what could have happened is maybe that this organization, Alias Signs, had a contract or an agreement with UL.
I just want to know why our company needs an alias. But well, okay.
Because they're not on the B list. Because they're not on the B list. So, possibly they could have had an agreement with UL that they were certified that once they built it, that they could put the UL sticker on. Well, if that was the case, it would say field on the UL sticker, meaning that it was put in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if the UL ratings are put in at the factory, they all have a tracking number on them. Well, none of this. So here's the issue. All of these locations and more potentially could have signs that could, we don't know because we haven't opened them up, could be dangerous, could have issues because they're not certified.
And they're hanging on big shopping centers.
Exactly, they are. Okay. Now, here's the other big issue. Now, this organization was fined. They had a $250 fine, but they gave them a level 4 reprimand to the Contractors Licensing Board, which is that's a big, right? I mean, that's like, we want to pull their license kind of thing. But the problem is now the owners of the businesses have to make the corrections. Otherwise, they're going to get in trouble. So
is there anybody that can just come and inspect the sign and go, yeah, this will be okay, go ahead and keep it?
There would probably have to be something. But what has to happen is because of their signs, somebody would have to, probably another electrical company or whatnot, or maybe UL themselves. And actually, they said that UL was actually had an ongoing investigation on alias signs. So what may have to happen is a field UL-rated company may have to come out, take apart the signs to look at all the electrical inside of it, and then give them the UL rating. But at this point in time, that's all going to be at the cost of the homeowner. Or not the homeowner, the business owner, who maybe can potentially go after alias signs through civil court laws or something of those lines. But this is a concern, and you know what? Because there's no UL rating on it, doesn't necessarily mean that there is a problem. But then I question myself to say, why, if it was done properly, why couldn't you get the UL rating?
Well, if you're a company making electrical signs and this is what it takes, then you need that right off the bat, so it should be there.
But I guarantee you, it's all about money. For somehow for them to either use certain things, certain tools, or not tools, but certain parts or pieces, that it was probably cheaper for them to buy ones that weren't rated to get the job, to underbid the next guy. I would almost guarantee that that's what it was. Because obviously with the UL rating, it's going to cost you a little bit more money for something. So I can underbid. And that's how a lot of these companies out there are getting away with underbidding the other companies. If somebody is thousands of dollars apart, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what business it is. If somebody, unless it's a $10 million bid, if we're thousands of dollars apart, I guarantee you something's not being done from one company to the next. And you know what? No matter what they write, they can tell you that it's apples for apples all day long. I hear it all the time. Oh, it's apples for apples. I talked to the contractor. Contractor told me these two contractors, I put them side by side. They were apples for apples. All right, wait till the job's done. Now tell me it's apples for apples. And it's impossible, because there's no way. I mean, there are a couple companies that that do some unshady markup, so I could understand that.
Or their price list is different from neighborhood to neighborhood.
Yes, and that is a big no-no.
And they go, well, these people could probably afford more, so we'll just hike up the price.
Yeah, I mean, I try to teach the companies that I consult that if you want to offer a standard discount, like a 3%, or something like that for cash discount or something, but keep everything consistent across the board.
No matter what house you look at.
No matter what house you look at, because it's always going to come to bite you, that the next door neighbor is going to buy something from you from somebody else in your company.
Or a relative across town.
Exactly, and they're going to start talking. Well, how much did you pay? I paid $4,000. Well, how much did you pay? I paid $5,000. Huh? What'd you get? Well, I got blah 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 blah. What's the same thing I got? Oh, wait a minute. Now you're going to bite yourself in the foot, and I guarantee you they're not going to stop. They're going to tell everybody they possibly can. So that was a big one. So be on the lookout for alias signs. At this point in time, do not do business with them until this is cleared up. And if you're any of those companies, I'm sorry to hear Tutti Frutti, Association Martial Arts, Kid Space, Town Jewelers. Guys, I apologize that it happened to you, and unfortunately, but luckily that's why we have the Contractors Exam Board out there trying to help look after you folks. So don't forget, September 7th, we're going to have Janet's Investigations on here, talking about how they can help save you money on broker's compensation, or maybe they could go out and find out that your spouse is maybe not being as faithful as she says. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? All right. I appreciate you listening. Don't forget to go to ComfortTimeLive.com. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
CBS News is next on WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
CBS News, I'm Dave Barrett.
This is a terrible tragedy.
New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg after this morning's shootings in the area around the Empire State Building. Police Commissioner Ray Kelly says a man who'd been fired from his job at an import company returned and opened fire on the owner or manager of that firm. Then the suspect walked onto the street.
He pulled his .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol from his bag and fired on the officers, who returned fire, killing him.
And there were other casualties.